The documentary is a dynamic form of film, and in the hands of a good filmmaker, it can be as exciting as a fictional story film, and perhaps even more gripping because we know that the subjects involved are real. Tonight, we are honored to have as our opening film, the celebrated Give Up Tomorrow. The filmmakers investigate the case of Paco Larrañaga and in the process puts the Philippine judicial system on trial. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Marty Syjuco, producer, and Michael Collins, director.
I'm a law student, and watching your film has been both very frustrating but also very inspiring. And as filmmakers, what is your impression on the Philippine legal system making this movie for 7 years? And what is one thing you would like to change?
Wow, that's a good question.
Talk about putting us on the spot. It's you and your classmates and your colleagues, you know. I mean, you guys are going to be the future judges and prosecutors, you know. So
it's precisely that kind of question that we want this film to provoke, but we're just filmmakers, we're not lawyers. So I think the fact that that is coming up in you means we did our job, but now, you know, it's up to you to help change the system here.
Thank you.
And yeah, the question is, are we in touch with the other defendants in the case, and do we plan on showing them the film? We interviewed all of the co-accused. You know, unfortunately, as you can see, it's a very dense film. Paco really represents all of them. His story is their story. You know, after spending 6 years on the ground here, doing all the investigation and the field work, we know 100% that all of these guys are innocent, including Rusha, the state witness who was tortured and forced to testify against them. They're all innocent. So it's unfortunate that we couldn't include more of their voices in the film, but we do have that footage, and we're actually going to be cutting some shorts that we're going to be putting up on the internet very soon. And the very first one that we're going to do is going to really feature the 6 other guys who are still in prison here in Manila and have been for 15 years.
did you all hear that? The question was about the state witness, Davidson Rusha, if we ever got access to him. Unfortunately, you know, we interviewed over 100 participants in this case, but we never got to Rusha. We kept trying. We even got to the point where we hired a private detective to find him, and we never found him. We were hoping that, you know, after many years, if we got access to him, if we sat him down in front of the camera, who knows what he would have told us. But to this day, he's missing.
Yeah, what was it like to show the film to Paco for the first time, and how did he react? We were very nervous because we knew it was going to be, he hasn't seen a lot of this footage. I mean, he was in prison when all this news was coming out. So we knew he would be reliving some of the worst times of his life. So we were worried. And he said that after watching it, it was very emotional, but he said that night that he slept the best that he had slept in 14 years. So.
Can you just tell us a little bit about your production process? You mentioned that it took you 6 or 7 years to complete the film, but weren't you under some kind of time pressure, since the longer it took to finish it, the longer it would take to assert the innocence of Paco?
Yeah, well, it took us 7 years primarily because of our crew. You're looking at it like a two-man team. And
when we started making this film, Paco was on death row, and all of these guys were, so there was a sense of urgency. We really wanted to finish it as soon as possible and get it out there into the world, but we didn't really know what we were doing, to be honest with you, and it took a long time the case was still ongoing. We knew that if we didn't put the film together properly, it wouldn't have legs in the world. It wouldn't get into festivals like this one. It wouldn't be seen. It wouldn't be taken seriously. So we really had to take our time and make the best film possible. Otherwise, it wouldn't be any use to anyone. The question is about Mrs. Chong's motivation, essentially, and what's our opinion on that. I mean, it's really hard for us. It's really hard for us to speak for the people in the film. We kind of like to let them speak for themselves. But, Mrs. Chong was the first victim in all of this. She lost her 2 daughters. And I think the sense that I got was, in a strange way, she was trying to find justice for her daughters, and she made a lot of bad decisions. She outright lied over and over again. We have, that's clear, but I think her motivation really was somehow to try to get justice for her daughters. And the irony was that she ended up being the one that was clouding the whole judicial process by using the influence of her sister and the president and all those kinds of things, because they were frustrated. They wanted someone to pay for this crime, and rightfully so. So they were trying to speed up the process, and they had these guys in prison with no evidence against them at all. So I mean, they never said anything about Paco courting the girls or threatening the girls until after he was picked up. Like I said, I don't know what her motivation was. I just really think that she was in a lot of pain, and she was frustrated, and she wanted justice, and I really can't speculate beyond that.
Is it safe for me to assume that this movie is also a push for justice for the Chong sisters? May I see it as that?
Absolutely. They're all victims of a broken justice system, honestly. Everyone involved. Did we feel compassion towards the family? Of course. Like we said, they're the first victims in all of this. And our approach was to let her tell her side of the story. We're not putting words in her mouth. As you can see, there are very few edits. I just let the camera go. And we also, I think it's important to understand that that she's a complicated person. She's not a one-dimensional person who's just a grieving mother, that there's a lot going on. So we felt that it was our responsibility to share some of that with the audience and let them make their own decisions. And I just want to say that it's been 15 years, and Paco's 42 witnesses will tell you today what they said 15 years ago, what they tried to say 15 years ago. That hasn't changed. And that can't be said for the witnesses on the other side. Couldn't get to almost any of them. I know that we have one of the witnesses here today, and Chef Rowan, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I know that this was your first time seeing the film.
Very simply, I remember a witness who said that Paco was in Ayala Mall at 7 p.m. That time, at 7 p.m., almost to that minute, I was sitting in our school, and Paco was going down the steps of the school at 6:30 p.m. that very day. So only that memory that I have, I can honestly say that their witnesses that time were lying, because I know for a fact that I saw him going down those steps. And I know that I'm not lying. Although it was a fruitless effort that time, to me, I could not have lived with myself if I did not say, or if I did not go to Cebu and testify for him. I could not have lived with myself.
Thank you, Chef Rowan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for spending your Sunday afternoon with us. It really is a dream come true to bring the film home to the Philippines.
Thank you.